Good morning. I read somewhere that today is like an optional memorial of Our Lady of Mercy. That's obviously we can all have a votive Mass of our Blessed Mother on any day that doesn't have an associated Mass, but I heard that was a particular thing today. I don't have the proper prayers for that liturgy, but that's the reason for the Marian theme today. I remember, there are these moments in our lives, like you remember where you were when you saw it happen, and one of those for me is where I was when I saw that the church, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris was on fire. I was on a communion call. I was in the living room of a lady who's now gone to God, and she had the TV on when I arrived. It's like one of them old, I always felt, it's funny, I feel bad for people when they have still like the square TVs. But it's really just fine that your TV is square. But she had a square TV. I'm like, oh man, hope she gets enough food. But so just remembering that moment when that beautiful church standing for 800 years was burning, and seeing this week kind of another update about that process of rebuilding. They're hoping to have it done by 2024. They've got braces in place in like everywhere. It's kind of like totally enveloped by what looks like pretty good engineering things. Not that I'm a necessarily competent judge of that, as evidenced by my description, but this holding up and rebuilding is a painful process. It's a lengthy process. It's a process that requires great courage. And the Lord today, in speaking through Haggai, is inviting the people to take courage. If you have anybody who remembers what it used to be like, it's going to be better. But take courage and gather the gold, gather the silver, gather what's the wood, gather what's necessary. But rebuilding and more glory is in the future. And for us, who in an existential way find ourselves at a certain point in the history of the church, we see things in decline. We may see the culture in decline to some degree, and it can be, and I certainly in homilies, it can be discouraging. But the Lord has a more glorious plan for us, for His church. And for us, we might, even thinking about the Notre Dame in its initial construction, that thing took, I think it was like a couple hundred years to build. I forget. I used to know. But in placing a block of stone, the builder didn't lament that he wouldn't be there, or maybe even his grandson or daughter might not be there to see this thing finished. He was in a certain sense grateful that he got to build Notre Dame Cathedral. And those nameless, many who did that. And I think we need to see our own job and our own ministry, our own life in the church in 2021 as people who don't necessarily know what the glory, the future glory of God's church is going to be, but we want to be courageous in our placing of the stones, and aware that He's got us firmed up, that He's here. Every day, we go to the altar of God, the God of our gladness and joy, as that Psalm 42 proclaimed. We come to this altar, we are fed by His very self, and we make small acts of courageous faith toward a future glory we may or may not see. And we just want to ask today for Saint Our Lady, who of course didn't know how, frankly, you can imagine she was pretty impressed. She's aware of her unique role, but her small yes has just multiplied in an almost infinite way through time. And her place as this mother of mercy for us, a mother who holds us when we are discouraged, when we are afraid, who says, like, get back in there, get back at it. Come back to the sacrament of penance if necessary. Know the love that sustains you as you build, is one that we can cling to with confidence, as our Savior did in his human life. So we ask for her intercession as we sort of stand here, both on the shoulders of the giants who preceded us and unaware of the glory that we're part of. Our Lady of Mercy.
Pray for us.